Hey everyone, welcome to a deep dive, on the 48 Laws of Power. This Robert Greene book, it's kind of a wild ride,
It
right?
really is.
Through history, human nature, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And we've got like articles, reviews, notes, everything. We're going to unpack it all.
It's one of those books that it never seems to fade away, does it? It's always on the bestseller list somewhere.
Right.
And, I think that's because it really taps into something timeless. It's the dance of power, how it plays out. And it's in every era, every society.
Like Machiavelli, but,
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah,
For the modern world.
to the modern age, exactly.
Right. Not that we want to turn anyone into like a ruthless, Machiavellian schemer or anything.
Right.
This is about understanding, right, how power works.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like go out there and wield it like a weapon.
I think of it almost like you're trying to decode a language that's kind of hidden.
Yeah.
And once you understand those unspoken rules, then you can navigate situations much more effectively.
Yeah.
Whether it's you're aiming for that big promotion or you're just trying to hold your own in a really tough conversation. This book gives you some tools.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's decode some of these laws then.
Yes.
We've got stories from Tina here, and they highlighted Law 33.
Okay.
Discover each man's thumbscrew.
Ooh.
That sounds a little intense.
It does a little bit, but it's not as nefarious as it sounds.
Right.
It's really about recognizing that everyone has these vulnerabilities. They have their motivations, their triggers, things that make them tick.
There are buttons you can push.
Yeah, exactly. And Tina gives a great example of this. She talks about a colleague that she found very difficult, constantly argumentative, dismissive of her ideas.
Ugh. Yeah, I've met a few of those.
Haven't we all, right?
Yeah.
But instead of just battling it out, head to head all the time, she took a step back. She really observed, and she noticed that this colleague was actually quite insecure.
Okay.
And he really craved recognition for his work, for his ideas.
Oh, okay.
So what does she do? She changed her approach completely. She focused on highlighting his contributions, giving him credit publicly.
Okay.
And it wasn't about manipulating him. It was about understanding that thumbscrew, that deep-seated need.
Right.
And, maybe using that to create a more harmonious, a more productive working relationship.
Did it work?
And guess what? It did.
There you go. It's using your powers for good. I like that.
Right?
This reminds me of another one that Tina mentioned, Law 9.
Okay.
Win through your actions, never through argument.
Oh, yes!
I feel like that kind of ties into that story.
It absolutely does because, it's like that old saying, right? Actions speak louder. She could have argued till she was blue in the face.
No.
But it was her actions that really made the difference.
Right.
It shifted that dynamic.
Yeah.
By acknowledging him, she actually changed how they interacted. It's not just about colleagues, though, is it? You think about leadership.
Oh, yeah.
And this idea that a leader who's constantly having to say, I'm in charge, listen to me.
Right.
They might find that their team doesn't really respect them.
No, it's like respect is earned, not given.
Exactly. But then you have a leader who just, through their actions, they're demonstrating their competence. They're demonstrating their fairness, their vision.
Right.
People are going to want to follow that person.
Yeah.
Because it's right there. You're seeing it.
They're showing you, not just telling you.
Exactly. Actions speak louder.
100%. And speaking of leadership, Law 1, never outshine the master. That one always makes me think about, those ambitious types climbing the corporate ladder.
Oh, yeah. It's a delicate dance.
It is. It is.
You want to be recognized, of course. You want people to know what you contribute, your talents.
For sure.
But you don't want to go so far that you make the people above you feel threatened.
Right.
Like, whoa, wait a minute. Are you trying to take my job?
Exactly. Accidentally throwing your boss under the bus during a presentation or something.
Exactly.
Even if you didn't mean to.
And that's what Law 1 is all about, being mindful of those dynamics.
Okay.
Because they are there. It's not about dimming your own light.
Okay.
But maybe finding a way to shine it so it helps illuminate your superiors as well.
So how do you actually do that? Because it sounds tricky. What are some examples of how you could do that well?
Okay, so let's say you have this brilliant idea, right, for a new project.
Okay.
Instead of, running into your boss's office and being like, look what I came up with, this is all me.
Right.
You could frame it as, hey, this is a way we can build on your initiatives, on your vision.
Oh, I see.
So you're highlighting them, you're lifting them up.
You're making them look good.
Exactly. Or let's say your boss is struggling with something, a particular task. You could offer your help, but in a way that's like, hey, I'm here to support you.
Right.
Not like, you clearly can't handle this, let me show you how it's done.
Right, yeah.
Subtle difference, but very important.
Big difference, huge.
It's that long game, building trust, proving your loyalty.
Right.
Because these power dynamics, they're complex, right? Sometimes strategic restraint is going to get you much further than just raw ambition.
It's like chess, almost, you're saying.
There you go.
You got to be thinking a few moves ahead.
You got it. And that leads us perfectly to a law that's all about that strategic thinking. Law 48, assume formlessness.
Okay, this one, I'll be honest, that sounds a little mysterious.
It does, doesn't it? It's a little mystical sounding.
What does it even mean to be formless?
So think of it like water.
Okay.
Water adapts, right? You put it in a cup, it becomes the cup.
Right.
You put it in a bowl, it's the bowl. It can be gentle, it can be forceful, it can flow around obstacles, or it can wear them down over time.
Like that.
It's adaptable, it's fluid, it's always in motion.
So in terms of power, does that mean being unpredictable?
In a way, yeah. You don't want to be rigid. If you're clinging to one plan, one way of doing things, you become very vulnerable.
Right, you're predictable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you stay adaptable,
Okay.
you can adjust. Circumstances change, you change with them, opportunities pop up, boom. You can seize them, setbacks, you can turn them to your advantage.
Okay, I like it.
Because you're not locked into one way of thinking.
It does kind of tie back to that win through your actions thing, right?
It absolutely does.
It's not just about taking action, but being flexible in how you're doing it.
Yes.
Responding to the situation.
100%. Being formless means recognizing that getting what you want, it's not always a straight line.
Right.
It's about being willing to swerve, to adapt, even change course entirely.
If that's what the situation calls for.
You've got to be adaptable.
You got to be like water, my friend.
You got to be like water. But also still strategic, right?
Yeah.
Not just floating around like whatever happens, happens.
Right.
There's the direction you're going in.
Exactly. You're not just at the mercy of the current.
Okay, I like that a lot.
You're using it.
Yeah.
You're harnessing that power.
Okay. This does make me think, though, about, this whole idea of the 48 laws.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a modern-day Machiavelli, right?
Right.
We've talked about using these laws ethically, but does that even, jive with a book that some people see as, this is how you manipulate people?
Right. That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think it's something that, right out loud, they really wrestled with that in their review, They actually called the book ghastly.
Oh, wow.
Which, I get it. I mean, some of these laws, if you use them with bad intentions, oof, that could get ugly.
Yeah, there's a line, right, between being strategic
and just being, manipulative and using people.
Totally. But here's the thing.
Okay.
Knowledge is power, right?
Yeah, they say that.
And that knowledge, it can be used for good. It can be used for not so good.
Right.
Knowing these laws doesn't mean you have to use them to be, climbing over everyone to get what you want.
Right.
It's almost like, okay, now you have this secret decoder ring.
I like that.
You can see the game that's being played.
Right.
You can see those strings, people trying to manipulate.
Yeah.
And now you have a choice.
Okay. Yeah.
How do I want to play this?
Do I want to play it all? Or am I just going to,
Exactly. Or walk away, or maybe turn the tables a little bit.
Ooh, I like that.
A little bit of, you want to play, let's play.
Yeah.
But it's a slippery slope.
It is.
Even with good intentions, you start using this stuff, you can get pulled in.
Yeah, you become the thing you maybe didn't want to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think the key takeaway here, self-awareness. You got to know yourself.
Yeah.
What are my values? How do I want to move through the world?
Even when it feels like everyone else is, playing by a different rule book.
Exactly. Everyone else is playing hardball, and you're like, do I even want to be on the field?
Right. That's such a good point to end on, I think. This book, it's fascinating. It's thought-provoking. Sometimes it's a little unsettling.
It is.
Right. You're learning about human nature, but you're like, ooh, maybe I didn't want to know that.
Right. But it does make you think.
It does.
And ultimately, I think the most important power is the one we have to choose. How are we going to use this?
100%. So we want to hear from you. Which of those 48 laws did it spark something for you? Maybe a situation, a relationship. Hit us up on social media. Let's keep this conversation going. This is something I feel like we could talk about for days.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for diving in with us today, everyone.
This is fun.